are watching News 9 live. I am Krishna Kumar, and at this hour, we are trying to decode what went wrong for the BJP in the recently concluded Karnataka State Assembly elections. The Congress Party won one of its biggest electoral victories in recent times in Karnataka. The BJP, on the other hand, faced one of its biggest routs in Karnataka. So what exactly led to the BJP losing its last southern bastion? Some BJP insiders say that the party had diluted its core ideology. The import of leaders from other parties into the BJP who did not agree with the BJP's core ideology had resulted in the Karyakartas, or the workers on the ground, being confused as to which leader is taking which stance on which issue. The BJP's spokesperson, Vaman Acharya, in fact, had written an editorial piece in a prominent newspaper that the BJP had nothing to showcase in terms of development, and that led to its downfall. He also added that corruption too had become a major sticking point, and the BJP did very little to address that important issue. The campaigns run by the Congress party against Chief Minister Bommai stuck, and that resulted in the narrative that the BJP was the party that had the most corrupt leaders. Meanwhile, the exit of key Lingayat leaders, its main voter base, also led to the erosion of BJP's vote share, although not by much. However, it led to many seats in North Karnataka moving to the Congress party. So, again, the big question is what went wrong, or what all went wrong for the BJP in Karnataka. We're trying to understand what were the real reasons, and to do that, we're being joined by a very special set of people on this broadcast. We're being joined by Mr. Suresh Kochatil, political analyst, and Dr. Basavaraj Itnal, senior journalist, and Shyama Prasad Meka, political analyst, joining us. Thank you, all of you gentlemen, for taking time to be with us here on News 9 Live. I'm going to begin with Mr. Suresh Kochatil. Mr. Suresh Kochatil, Karnataka was a state where the Congress party had the edge, but the final tally tells us that that's the kind of majority that no party had gotten Karnataka in 3 decades.
Yeah, you're right in a sense. Like I just finished, just before you came online, I just finished the last of the 224th constituency analysis, seat by seat, as to who held it. And I wish I could share the screen with you, but I looked at factors like which ones did BJP retain and which one did BJP lose. Okay, they are lost across the board, if you can say it that way. But what I also see is a huge number of seats going from JDS to Congress. And in some cases, JDS, which was last time the runner-up, has not even been there. It is BJP who has come into the second place, which is why you see that the BJP vote share has not decreased much. It is at 36%. It was about 0.4 or 0.5 they lost from last time. The reason why, it happened the reverse way at the time. If you remember last time, the Congress got 38% in 2018, but they had only 80 seats. Where the BJP got 36% and they had 104 seats. Now, obviously, the question would be, the party with the bigger vote share should get the larger number of seats, but it didn't happen that way. This time, and everybody knows that the tactical voting that happened in more than one way, the Muslims who acknowledged today that they had voted en bloc, rejecting the smaller parties like SDPI and even MIM, which kept away at the last minute to ensure that the Muslim vote bank doesn't get split. And of course, today they're demanding the pound of flesh. They said openly they had a discussion with Congress on this fact that the Muslim vote bank is going to vote together. The impact of SDPI on the ground, which is the political wing of the banned organization PFI, is also very, very crucial because a huge chunk of the population from Kerala had moved into places like Kodagu, for example, over the last 10 to 15 years, despite certain rules which don't allow buying of coffee estates there. Now, when you look at the totality of the entire thing, the Lingayat votes, if you speak about, actually, it doesn't really show that much of a Lingayat swing, and I'm still to get into the swing part of it that way in constituency by constituency. But if I look at the Bengaluru part of it, I'm surprised places like Yelahanka, places like, within Bangalore city, BJP has increased its vote from 23,000, for example, in Yelahanka to 57,000. How did it happen when it is losing across the state? Obviously, those are the people who work for the IT companies and other things in Bangalore who stay there, who are the new entrants into the city, and they seem to be voting BJP way. whether Mr. Modi ji's roadshow had an impact. I think it did have an impact. If you look at the Bengaluru constituencies, where BJP vote has actually increased. So I'm going constituency by constituency. That is why this is where it is showing that the BJP actually has held on, but it has lost because it couldn't retain many seats from where it won handsomely last time.
Right.
Why
Stay with us. Stay with us. Stay with us. I'm going to take that point up with Dr. Basaraj Jitnal. Dr. Basaraj Jitnal, there's a clear trend over there. You're seeing, they say that the upper castes, the people who are at the top of the food chain, including the people, the IT professionals that Suresh Kochatil were talking about in Bengaluru, they all seem to have voted for the BJP, and that too in huge numbers. But it is the rural Karnataka, the farmers of Karnataka, who have given their voice of support to the Congress party. If I may take an analogy for a second and tell you, it was similar to what happened after Chandrababu Naidu's first tenure in Andhra, when he had so much good work that went into Hyderabad and talking about Cyberabad and etc. etc. But then Y.H. Rajshekar Reddy had come into power, storming into power in the next election, beating Chandrababu Naidu because all the rural votes in Andhra went to YSR.
No, as far as BJP is concerned, we know that it has a considerable base in urban youth. Whether urban youth goes out and votes, that's a different thing. But they do have a very strong support base in urban youth. That's number one. Number two, to understand why the BJP has done so dismally, bad, is it has two distinct angles to it. One is a positive on a positive note, another is on a negative note. The positive note is, if you see the swing of the vote share from JDS to BJP, it is 4.5%, and amounting to around 18 seats. So this predominantly is in old Mysore region. In old Mysore region, the stronghold, the strong man was the Gaudas and the JDS. So what D.K. Shivakumar did over last couple of years, every small, big, whatever opportunity he got, he went to the people there in old Mysore region saying that if you bless me, I will be your CM. You are blessed Kumar Swamy, 3 times he has become chief minister, give me one chance. In addition to that, there was this narrative that JDS always comes to power by the back door, though it ends up number 3, but somehow it comes from back door and its legitimacy is limited in as much as those terms. So that positive note of D.K. Shivakumar in the old Mysore region, combined with the negative impact of Lingaites in the North Karnataka. If you look, the BJP has lost close to 20 seats in North. And that is primarily because, though it is not seen in percentile swing, the emotional factor is that many of the Lingayat leaders of BJP went directly to Congress, and many went against BJP and contested independent. So though that percentile does not show in Congress account, it definitely helped split the vote for BJP in many constituencies. So there is that sentimental factor of negative impact, and I don't understand why any sane politician during elections would go out and say, whether Lingayat or Muslim, whatever it is, no politician would go out and say that we don't want a certain community's votes at all. Whatever B.L. Santosh said or what CTR said, it amounted to that. They said it in as many words that they don't need Lingayats. Right. That's really bad politics.
Right.
And combined to that, in coastal region, there also Congress has increased its tally. That is because SDPI support. SDPI, following this halal and hijab controversies, though PFI is banned, SDPI as a political organization is not banned. So they openly supported Congress, and that's why, like Mr. Suresh was saying, today they are bargaining their pound of flesh now. So right. These are 3 factors. One is D.K. Shivakumar's positive note, appeal to local voters in the south, and in the coastal Karnataka, that is SDPI factor. In north, it is Lingayat factor.
Right. Stay with us. Stay with us. We also have Shyam Prasad Meka joining us on this broadcast. Shyam Prasad Meka, you just heard the diagnosis, so to speak, from Basaraj Jitnal and Suresh Kochatil. I want to help you. I want you to help us understand: is there a city versus rural divide in the way Karnataka voted, or was that a factor at all? And also in terms of the caste calculus, was there an impact, for the BJP for the way it turned out in the election?
See, basically, why are we even surprised? There will be a difference between rural and urban voters because the day-to-day issues that they face and factors on which they assess the governments are different. Simple. You can check that in any state, there will be a difference. Unless there is a huge wave which overrides your day-to-day issues, there will be definitely rural and urban dichotomy in the voting pattern. Now, coming to this, now instead of doing some slicing and dicing to find some way out for BJP and to protect this booth called what is Teflon coated image, we might come out with a lot of things, but that's not the thing. The issue is BJP government performed poorly and they did not enunciate their proposal for the next 5 years if they are elected to power. On those two counts, Congress is successful in sending the message that this government is not doing good. Two, they were clear that what they want to do, and they have communicated. And third, well, you are communicating, but why should we trust you, right? So they did these issues like guaranteeing, or Rahul Gandhi himself saying that this will be done in the first cabinet meeting. So they did all the right things. And second, for a change, you would never see this in Congress. You haven't seen it in the recent past. Congress showed the hunger. All their big leaders, all their important people pitched their tent in Karnataka and were quietly going about their campaign. BJP's attempts to divert them from their agenda did not succeed because Congress did not fall into the trap this time. That's clearly it is. That's what is there to see for everybody.
Right. Let me take this back to Suresh Kochatil. Suresh Kochatil, is there a clear performance issue? You know, all those 40% Sarkar and etc., you know, though that narrative on corruption is the one, and that anti-incumbency factor over and above everything. Because if you do say that, you know, if there is, the numbers tell us that the vote share of the BJP has not gone down by too much, like 0.5% at best, which means that largely people who voted for the BJP last time continue to vote for the BJP. You know, where was the gap?
The gap was in terms of communication. I think that is where the entire thing went for a 6, because when you have this 40% Sarkara sticking onto your neck and onto your sleeve, you need to defend yourself pretty well. Changing 70 odd MLAs was a good move. It's a generational shift, if you ask me. It'll pay off BJP. In fact, I've been looking at the number of MLAs, new MLAs brought into the party. But the moot point is not that. The moot point is that many of those people who contested and lost also were defectors last time from during those famous disqualification thing where 19 MLAs were disqualified and contested again on BJP tickets, of which 14 of them won. Now, in terms of communicating, I think that's where BJP always has a problem. And I keep talking about this, that BJP spokespersons come on the channels and actually are reactive, not proactive, because they often seem to be defending the impossible. They can't get out and talk about what the party has done. For example, very, very clear. Take the example of Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, you can never dream of the local police assisting the Lokayukta. Of course, here Lokayukta is dead here. There's nothing happening on the Lokayukta here. So imagine in Bangalore, they get the local police to go and arrest a BJP leader, an MLA, and his son. Now, it's unthinkable in a city like Hyderabad, or for that matter, even in Cochin or Trivandrum, that would never happen. But it happened. See, that could have been a positive thing which BJP could have spun and said, look, we did not shield him. They went and arrested him, and we allowed our police to be part of it. Of course, the police could have defied it and said, we will come tomorrow, we'll come day after, but they were a part of the Lokayukta. There's a certain number of police officers who are allocated to the Lokayukta. More importantly, BJP's, in fact, when you talk of performance, I'm surprised that Bengaluru has a maximum number of complaints, if you ask me, in terms of bad roads, traffic, drainage, rains, everything. Just like any other urban metropolis would have, Hyderabad is no different. Now, why is it that in Bengaluru, we are seeing certain uptick in the vote percentage of BJP? It should have been lesser, isn't it? Because there's so much of complaints against the BJP, the drawing room criticism that we see from the voters, but all that seemed to have evaporated, and there seems to be an uptick. Was that Modi ji's final splash of a roadshow? We don't know. we need to ask the citizens which way they voted, why did they vote the way they voted. But more importantly, one needs to understand the en bloc shift also from JDS to Congress. If you look at the seats JDS is losing across the board, they have lost, especially in central Karnataka, they have lost a huge number of seats. Why did JDS do it? As I told you, in many cases, JDS has not even come out second; they've come out third in a seat which they won last time. Was it deliberate? Was there a tactical understanding between JDS and Congress? In JDS assumption that the Congress will not cross the magic mark, yet they will depend on JDS, and JDS could be the king or the kingmaker, as they would call it. But I think that option backfired, because when you have a vote percentage over 40% in what is essentially a tri-cornered contest, the party that goes above 40 will do have a landslide. That we have seen it everywhere. You look at Gujarat, BJP sweeping with more than 50%. Surprisingly, if you look at the vote percentages over the last three elections, and specifically if you look at how BJP performed, for example, in the assembly elections of 2018, we know that Congress got 38.14, but when it came to the Lok Sabha, that dropped to 31.88, and assembly they again now picked up to 42.88. Now the vote share difference is 4.77. BJP, look at it. In the assembly election of 2018, they got 36.35, but when it came to the Lok Sabha election, they got a massive 51%. Obviously, the Lok Sabha election voting is totally different. We've seen that in Rajasthan, we've seen that in other places where BJP lost miserably in the assembly election, but they surprisingly won everything that was there on the table for the Lok Sabha. So I'm looking forward to 2024 and seeing whether this would actually
Fair
have
enough.
any impact.
Fair enough. Ms. Masuda Jitnal, yes, 2024. Talk to us from 2024's perspective. But before that, tell us, Karnataka was the last place where the BJP had a stronghold in the south of India. It's very fair that like many view this as the BJP exiting South India with this big loss, and then this also hurts its chances further in the upcoming Telangana state assembly elections as well. Talk to us from that perspective of what is BJP getting wrong when it comes to the south of India as a whole, where neither its Kannur tactics in Kerala has gone down well. Things are very problematic in Tamil Nadu as well. Karnataka now completely gone. Telangana in doldrums because of what happened in Karnataka. Talk to us from that perspective, and of course, how different do you think it's going to be in Karnataka itself when it comes to the upcoming 2024 Lok Sabha elections?
I'll start with Mr. Vaman Acharya's arguments, and let me come to whatever points you raised. See, right from the start, if you ask me, BJP got it wrong in Karnataka. I don't know why they forgot that they never got even a simple majority in Karnataka, though they formed governments so many times. They never got a mandate of the state. Well, yes, they were largest party, but that does not mean they had this, unquestioned, unquestionable, unshakable support of the state. And somehow that arrogance, when that crept in, from there, all this wrong decisions happen. Like Vaman Acharya saying, importing of leaders like Muniratna or S.T. Somshekhar or M.T.B. Nagaraj, people like that who have a very questionable background. Muniratna had faced a couple of local inquiries before coming to BJP, and he was BJP was against him when he was involved in even electoral frauds. So people like them, just to garner numbers, just to form the government, you get them in, and then you give them free hand. And at the same time, you go on preaching morality. When your own party worker, Hindutva activist, dies, writing a suicide note saying that, I could not live because of this 40% bribe. And these are very serious charges. And because of this, and then they made wrong decision again in getting down Yediyurappa. There was no reason why Yediyurappa should have stepped down. They insisted, because there was a power shift happening in RSS also. Earlier, MC Jaydev and all these people were advising BJP. Now that shift happened to Santosh, and he had his own team. So there probably RSS also got too swayed with its own ideology without understanding the political exigencies and political realities of the state. That's why they go on saying openly that we don't need a so-and-so community, or a party president going out and saying that don't talk about development, talk about love jihad. No, when people are hungry, when there is no job, when there is maybe COVID or no COVID, whatever, the economic scenario is very dismal. And in that scenario, you go on asking people to talk about love jihad. And so these things don't go down well. And as a counter narrative to that, like Mr. Suresh was saying, as a counter to that, the Congress was running this, I'll give you 2,000 a month for every housewife. I'll give 3,000 to graduates. These are immediate relief. These are immediate, lifesavers for now. Whether it is a very good, whether it's a good economics or whatever, that's a different thing. But they are lifesavers for the people in need. So somewhere that mismatch happened in BJP, and what this will happen, what impact it will have on 24 is very interesting. In 2013, 2014, also same thing happened. In 2013, also clearly the state was in favor of Siddaramaiah, but in 2014 they voted Modi, and in 2018, well, it was a hung assembly, but again they elected in 2019 Modi back with 51% vote share. So Karnataka is a state which thinks differently in assembly elections, which thinks differently in parliament elections.
That is what happened in Odisha as well, Mr. Itnal, because there you had people voting for the state election and central election on the same day, choosing the Biju Janata Dal, BJD for the state, and choosing Modi and the BJP for the centre. I'm going to take this across to Shyamprasad Meka as well. Shyamprasad Meka, you're talking about performance being the key metric as to what happened in Karnataka, no matter how much you slice and dice numbers. We're talking about 2024. What is your perspective on on how the numbers will turn out for 2024, and what BJP needs to do from here to ensure that Karnataka continues to remain with the BJP?
Yeah, see, the simple thing is, when you get your basics wrong, you can slice the data, dice the data, show whatever picture you want, but the result is not going to change. The fact is, first you need to have the basics right. Okay, moving to your question about 2024. Yes, I agree. There is a pattern clearly that in terms of when Modi himself is on the ticket, if it is a Lok Sabha election, there is an upswing for BJP across many of the states where BJP has actually lost the state election. But there are reasons for it. The few of the primary reasons are, forget 2014. 2014 is a hopeful election for a stronger leadership, new change in the governance structure, that's there. In 2019, if you discount Balakot, Pulwama emotion, the other things that were working for BJP, especially in the Lok Sabha elections, are Aayega to Modi hi hai. There is no challenger for Modi and BJP. These are the narratives which were actually manufacturing a lot of public opinion to gravitate towards BJP. Now the question is, how strong or effective will the Congress or opposition parties be in puncturing that image going forward from here to 2024? That's the question. If they fail in that, again this narrative will continue and BJP will hold the sway in the Lok Sabha elections.
Right.
But if they find a way to explain this to people and provide a challenger to Modi and BJP, then I'm sure probably Karnataka will be a first step.
Right, Suresh Kochatil, do you see? What does BJP need to do right from here on? Because you can't take any election for granted. Yes, given that Karnataka has been with the BJP for the last two Lok Sabha elections, and in a very overwhelming kind of a way. But clearly this state election loss can't be taken lightly and assume that now one way or the other people of Karnataka will choose the BJP automatically in 2024.
Well, last time BJP got 20 seats from Karnataka and Congress got 1, if you recollect. And especially, as was mentioned earlier, BJP never got a majority in Karnataka Assembly. It always was at one time it got 40 seats in 2013, and it got 104 in 2018. It got 110 before the 2013 election, 2008. Now going forward, what should BJP do? It's very, very simple that BJP should look at its backyard. One, it diluted its core philosophy of trying to say that all Indians are the same DNA and all that. I have many people who have spoken to me since the election defeat and told me, boss, BJP forgot the Hindus. They took the Hindus for granted. And that is what happened to the BJP. Well, there's a logical argument too. If you look at Uttar Pradesh, for example, while the same time as elections were happening in Karnataka, the other way around in Uttar Pradesh, BJP was sweeping. across, winning all the 17 mayoral seats. Why? Because there the leadership is able to project itself as a good administrator. In Karnataka, tell me Basuraj Bommai, all said and done, is a clean man that way compared to what Yediyurappa was actually. But that is not the point. The point is being effective. Why Modi is looked upon as a leader because he takes decisions. You can't be a Narasimha Rao thinking that problems will go away if you don't take a decision. No, it happens. You need to show yourself as a tough guy that you can do things when required. And this is extremely important. And for BJP, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, and the Northeast, these are going to be huge crucial factors because down south, BJP has never won any election for 2024, sorry, for the Lok Sabha, except for seats in Karnataka and 4 in Telangana, which was like a bonus for them last time. But don't expect them to win in Tamil Nadu now, even though Annamalai is making the right noises. It will take time to counter the Dravidian politics there. So if you say that BJP, somebody was saying, who said BJP is out of South? Well, we are there in Pondicherry. One of the wisecracks was cracking a joke today, saying that we are still there in Pondicherry, isn't it? We have a government there. True. But Pondicherry is of no consequence when it comes to Lok Sabha, just one seat. But more importantly, jokes apart, is the main thing that the BJP needs to look at to cross the 272 mark on its own, or else it will be dependent on allies. It all depends on how Maharashtra fragments out for BJP. Because if Uddhav Thackeray and Sharad Pawar don't see eye to eye, Maharashtra is up for grabs. But there again, the Congress might go on its own and try different pitches. And that is also important. So Rajasthan, UP, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, these are states where BJP will need to push. Because Odisha, Naveen Patnaik will win, even though BJP may get seats. But at the end of the day, whoever wins, Naveen Patnaik will support Modi ji. And so goes for YS Jagan in Andhra. The question is about TRS in Telangana. We talked about Telangana election, and since I'm from Hyderabad, I can tell you that now there's a worry because people are seeing Telangana Congress and Telangana Bharatiya Rashtra Samiti or BRS as one and the same. They're confused whom to vote for because both the parties are saying the same thing, that we want to defeat the BJP. BRS is not saying that we want to defeat the Congress. The BRS is still willing to tie up with the Congress provided Rahul Gandhi is not the face of it. Official statement from the Chief Minister of Telangana. If Rahul Gandhi is not going to be the face of it, who will be the prime ministerial candidate? End of the day, the Indian Lok Sabha election has become an American presidential election sort of stuff. We are now concentrating only on personalities. It is the Tina factor that helped Modi ji along in 2014 and also in 2019. Will it work in 2024? That's a question.
Right, that's an important question. Let me take this across to Basuraj. Itnal, that answer that question that Suresh Kochatil just put on, and the other point is that let's just talk about state franchises for a bit. Yes, of course, when it comes to the 272 number in the center, as long as the BJP does well in its bastions of Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh and everything, and Northeast and everything, that 272 number will be definitely be there for the taking for the BJP, unless obviously get something drastically wrong. But there is an issue when it comes to national parties and the south of India, and specifically now with the BJP tasting so much success, in Northeast and other parts of the country, still not being able to break into South India, decidedly so.
Except Karnataka, all the southern states have very strong regional parties. We had in Karnataka also had that opportunity in JDS. But the problem with JDS was never even conceived as a pan-Karnataka regional party. It was conceived as this, Old Mysore region, sub-regional party. That is why probably people this time around lost faith on the party. But coming back to this, why BJP cannot make inroads in Southeast, both culturally, linguistically, because the moment they even think of, introducing Hindi somewhere, the southern states, they rebel, they resist, there is a huge pushback. So there is always this Hindi and non-Hindi, north and south, that identity crisis that happens here. So that's why the regional parties have a huge role to play, whether in the government or opposition, both would be regional parties in the south. But Karnataka was a different thing. Karnataka was more cosmopolitan, more accepting, that is why BJP could make inroads. Maybe it was because of this Baba Budangir issue, or maybe because it was Hubli's Idgah Maidan issue. Whatever would be the reasons. Maybe Lingayats en masse came to BJP post the breaking away of Janata Dal and ABPJD and all that, fragmentation that happened in early 2000 and late 90s. So these are various factors why BJP could get some support here, but they seems to have exhausted all those lifelines. So they will have to reinvent now. Number one, number two, coming to this opposition unity. In this election result also, there could be a hint for opposition unity. There could be an idea how it could be, mustered. Like BRS saying that as long as Rahul Gandhi is not the face, we are with this great opposition Gathbandhan. But what has happened in Karnataka is that compared to BJP was putting the central faces, the national figures like Modi and Amit Shah in the forefront, and the local leaders, the state leaders were, they were very muted. Whereas the Congress campaign was hugely based on local leadership like Siddaramaiah and D.K. Shivakumar, while the national leadership like Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka, they were quite secondary. They were secondary to local leadership. Probably that's where lies the solution, that Congress should imagine the opposition unity not to be centered around itself. It should imagine the opposition unity as being one part of the equals. Many equals like whether it is BRS or YSRP party in Andhra Pradesh, or Stalin's DMK in Tamil Nadu, or Kerala's communist regime of Pinarayi Vijayan. So all these, if the opposition is imagined as not being centered, as not imagining Congress being the nucleus of it all, then maybe there is a possibility. Otherwise, right now, from now, though it's very, very difficult to call anything as far as 2024 elections are concerned. But as of now, it doesn't appear that opportunity would happen that easily.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
That probably means that TNR factor might continue. I don't know, but anyway, like I said, it's very difficult.
That's my doubt as well. Shyamprasad Meka, that question of opposition unity seems extremely unlikely. Even despite whatever has gone down with Karnataka, isn't it? Or do you think that there could be a rejuvenation in the opposition and the BJP needs to be wary of it?
See, first of all, this opposition unity is a bogey created and wanted by BJP. You understand me? Mr. Narendra Modi wants to tell people that, hey, see, everybody is ganged up against me because there is no challenger to me. Nobody can challenge me. No other party can stand up to us. So everybody is ganged up. That's right, playing into Modi's hands. This is nonsensical. If anybody want to fight with BJP on issues, provide an alternative to the people. Let us see what will happen. Only thing that brings any meaning to this opposition unity is all parties who doesn't agree with Mr. Modi and BJP's government and its direction for the country, they should start speaking the same language, raising the same issues. Other than that, there's nothing called opposition unity. Why do you think opposition unity is required? See, there are states like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Karnataka, Gujarat, Uttarakhand, Himachal, Haryana, where Congress and BJP are head-to-head fighting with each other. There are states like, say, Bihar, where Congress is a junior player, like Jharkhand, Congress is a junior player. The fight is with the others. There are states like Bengal, where Congress is a non-player, and the fight is between TMC and BJP. There are states where, like Kerala, where BJP is a non-player. So what kind of opposition unity we are talking? This is a joke. All these leaders coming and taking a picture with all hands holding, that's a joke, and that's going to be playing right into the hands of Modi.
Right, fair enough.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Either way, we should go away from this entire talk of opposition unity, because we're trying to understand what exactly went wrong with the BJP in Karnataka as far as state assembly elections is concerned. Suresh Kochatil continues to be with us, political analyst. Suresh Kochatil, you're talking about an election machinery which is delivered time and again, which has done so well in so many parts of the country. Clearly, that electoral machinery seems to be running into problems when it comes to getting state franchises time and again, because clear strategies in Kerala have not borne fruit, and now Karnataka again.
Well, it's clear that BJP's election machinery is awesome. I mean, there is one party apart. There are only two card-based parties in the country. Let's get that clear. One is a communist and one is a BJP, where you don't have to pay money for the party workers to come and work for you. You don't have to give them biryani or booze in the evening, all that stuff. Now, that is a big advantage for BJP. But BJP has been taking those Karyakartas for granted. And I can tell you there's a lot of frustration among the Karyakartas for being ignored over the newcomers who are coming into the party. There is a congressization of culture into BJP that is coming in, wearing badges, walking around, having fancy designations, sitting on the stage. This is not what BJP Karyakartas have been taught from a young age. They've been taught to work the do parchi system, the booth management, everything that works like a dream for BJP. But of late, in states like Karnataka, we have seen they've taken defectors. Even in Telangana, they've taken people because they don't have their own strength here. So when we are talking of South as such and what is BJP gone wrong in Karnataka, if you ask me, then nothing has gone wrong. Basically, they replaced 73 MLAs. Those 73 people have not proved themselves because they're newcomers. In a sense, they have not been in the electoral politics. They've been in the party. But that is where BJP has done. Maybe it took a calculated risk and said, fine, we will do a generational shift because how long will you continue with Yediyurappa, especially when he's crossing his limit of age of that what the BJP has set out for its leaders. Definitely we need to look at the next generation of leadership. So let us sacrifice this particular one and let us get the next one correct. And I think maybe that is one strategy of it, but they never expected it to go so horribly wrong. And I was looking at the fact that, how many seats did Congress scrap from BJP? Well, they have grabbed almost, I think, 56 seats. But Congress also lost some seats to BJP. That is also a funny part of it. So everywhere in Karnataka, if you analyze in detail, there have been losses here and there that has been happening. But the point is very clear. There have been consolidation of votes in certain segments of the population, especially the Muslims.
Right. I was about to get to that. Mr. Basaraj Itnal, that move to take away the reservation for the Muslims and put them in the economically weaker section category and take that 4% away and give it 2% to Lingayat and 2% to Vokkaligas. How much did that backfire according to you?
See, any decision on reservation needs to be followed up, or it needs to be based on a socio-economic survey of the community. And there is an organization called Backward Class Commission for that. It commissions lots of studies, and it takes time. But suddenly, as few days are left for the election commission to announce the dates, the government of Karnataka goes and makes this huge announcement, which was taken by Devagowda government in 1996 based on certain studies. And it never said that because Muslims are Muslims, we are giving up the reservations. There was a socio-economic study of the community, and that's why it was given. And when this was given, when this was taken back by Bommai government, when Lingayats, the considerable segment of Lingayats called Panchamsalis, they were on dharna seeking elevation to 2A category. Okay, that is when you try to pacify Lingayats by taking away from Muslims and dividing 2+2 between Lingayats and Vokkaligas. And it's not in Panchamsali, it is entire Lingayat community. And this does not go down well with any community. Neither Lingayats are happy, nor Vokkaligas are happy, nor Muslims are happy. So nobody was happy with that decision. And nobody even came out and congratulated government for that. Everybody criticized the government for that. So that really backfired because it was totally thoughtless and it was based on no homework, nothing. Some random number, 4% we take from Muslims. This was probably, some thinkers even thought this was a ploy to pit Vokkaligas and Lingayats against Muslims. Because it is sort of, you create a social unrest by these kind of decisions when it is not backed by any studies at all.
Right.
So that definitely backfired. And combined with that was this hijab and halal issue, where you go on saying that they put posters next to villages and village fairs that Muslims cannot come and trade here. That kind of a social polarization that was happening in coastal Karnataka. There, our president goes and says, BJP President Nalin Kumar Katil goes and says, let's not talk about development, let's talk about love jihad. And all these things backfire.
Right.
Because people's issues were this 40% and the economic conditions, joblessness, they had no answers for that. They simply were talking about these emotive issues, polarizing issues, and that's where I guess even this 4% reservation
Fair
thing
enough. Shyam Prasad
backfired on
Meka, if I were
Bommai.
to ask you, had they not done that, had they not done this, taking away this 4% from Muslims and splitting it between Vokaligas and Lingaites, because clearly the Vokaligas did not vote for the BJP despite that move.
Yeah, see, that move, had they not done, is an interesting question. But
Right.
that move did not help the Congress per se. That move only did is, it communicated BJP's lack of seriousness in what it is doing. It actually damaged BJP. Okay. Second, and also another point, important point I
Right.
want to mention.
Hold on for a
is-
second. Mr. Basavaraj Itnal has an interjection. Mr. Basavaraj Itnal, please go ahead.
No, that definitely gave Congress a stick to beat the BJP with. It gave them an opportunity to reach out to Muslims that we will take it back and give it to you. So that's exactly why the SDPI comes and supports it. And SDPI in coastal belt has a considerable presence. In coastal constituency, it has considerable presence. That's why Congress has upped its numbers there.
That's what, Mr. Yatnal, I've been saying. That actually lack of narrative of BJP actually played into the narrative of Congress in Karnataka specifically. So that's what happened. And also another thing, one suggestion I want to make is we English-speaking analysts, we need to stop talking disparagingly about a biryani packet, please. People who come and work for you in whatever party, they're not coming for biryani packets, please. Don't
Correct.
talk disparagingly about it. They come,
Absolutely.
if somebody is working for me for a day, I will arrange food for him. Don't talk this language, please. It's a disrespect to the people. If all the corporate honchos wearing the blazers go to some team building activities and eat, are they going for food? Are we taking the same language? Don't insult my fellow Indians. Please, we need to be careful about these things.
Worker comes to work for the party for biryani, sir. Suresh, I think that's a comment that's the sense that you can't be disparaging about any party workers.
I didn't disparage about anything. It is a reality. Please understand. Elections are a very expensive process. Why? Elections are not an expensive process because it's expensive. Because you need to run an entire campaign. It costs money.
Correct.
You work on the field.
No,
I'll tell you how it works. You have to put petrol
I
in the
know,
oil of
I
the
know,
two-wheeler guy.
I know.
Everything.
But
You are
don't
not
call them
talking
coming
disparage.
for
I'm
biryani
saying
packets.
there are two parties which can afford to have this free. Communist parties and BJP. The others are not cadre-based parties. Please understand. They get workers
What do you mean people
on the
coming
dot
for
when they
biryani
need.
packets?
Whatever
What do you mean
see,
people coming
please.
for biryani packets? No, that is wrong.
No, I didn't say people come for biryani packets. You're getting me wrong there. I said when people are there, you need to do that for them. That you're getting the entire thing wrong.
You got to do that.
I have worked.
You got to do that.
I worked for 30 years in the field. I know how
Will
it
you
is.
Will you
Yes,
leave people
it is.
who work
That
for
is
you?
how it works. That is, it costs money to maintain an entire campaign. Why does it cost 50 to 100 crores to run a Lok Sabha campaign?
And in this country,
it costs money.
richest party is
It costs
BJP.
money. Don't tell me
Richest
that doesn't
party is
cost money.
BJP.
That people will come and work free for you. Sorry, it doesn't. It happened that way. Entire thing, your IT team, your backend team, everybody. It costs money. It costs money to run a campaign. Second thing, I just want to bring the point of your opposition unity. One main thing we are all missing, wood for the trees, is very clear that what does Nitish Kumar bring to the table in Maharashtra? What does, for example, Uddhav Thackeray bring to the table in Uttar Pradesh? The problem is all these people are having their own votes in their own states. There is no pan-India party except Congress which can bring, or maybe the Aam Aadmi party, which can bring votes from the other states into the opposition bucket. They are all individual satraps who can win their own election, which they're doing even now. The point is, when you're talking of opposition unity, you're talking of carrying votes, transferring votes from one party to another party in another state, where you're not that strong, but you have a 5%, 4%, 3% votes. The problem is, Nitish Kumar doesn't have it. Mamata Banerjee is zero outside West Bengal. Mayawati tried her best, but she outside UP, she's nobody except for maybe northern part of Madhya Pradesh. This is what we need to learn. In opposition unity, there's nothing called opposition unity because they don't bring anything to the table. If you bring your extra votes into another state, that is where it matters. Or now all they're talking is, how do we put 2 plus 2 plus 2 and make it an alliance? No, it doesn't work that way. They're thinking that it can be an IK Gujral or a Chandrasekhar or any of those other governments which were cobbled up, even Deva Gowda for that matter, how they were cobbled up. That is the dream. Everyone in the opposition wants to be the prime minister. That's a problem. KCR doesn't want Rahul Gandhi because he thinks he wants to be the prime minister. Mamata Banerjee doesn't want to be seen saying she wants to be Prime Minister, so she gets Nitish Kumar to say it. Nitish Kumar himself wants to be the Prime Minister, but he doesn't want to say it. Uddhav Thackeray wants it, Sharad Pawar wants it, everybody wants to be the Prime Minister. That is the problem. On one side, you have 10, 15 people standing up. Another side, you have Mr. Modi standing. Now, look at from a perspective of a voter. For him, there is something very, very clear here, saying that, yes, this is a person who has no challenge. But on the other side, you can never trust them because we've gone through coalitions which have ended up in disasters for us. Somebody pulling the plug on a coalition because he saw a policeman standing outside his house and thinking he's tapping his phone. Imagine such ridiculous things happened in this country. And we are talking of a country as huge as India. So need to understand that Karnataka, whatever said and done, BJP will always say, look, we never lost our vote share. We still retained our vote share. But what happened is they lost the vote share in certain places where they need to have got it and they didn't get it. And a large part of Janata Dal secular votes went to Congress. That is very, very clear if you analyze the results.
Right.
Huge chunk.
Fair enough.
Huge chunk.
Absolutely. Suresh Kochatil, 4.9% was the vote share that the JDS lost in the Karnataka State Assembly elections. And that's the exact percentage that the Congress party has gained, 4.9%.
No.
Shyam Prasad Meka, please go ahead.
No. Also, that vote to a large extent went to actually BJP. Look at Old Mysuru and tell me. It's not simple moving numbers here and there. In Old Mysuru, BJP hit Devegowda's party's vote. That actually helped Congress. While BJP lost its vote share in other areas.
If you analyze 224 seats, it didn't work out that way. Many of the seats that were lost due to JDS actually has gone to the Congress, not to BJP. Please analyze all 224 seats. I have the entire Excel in front of me here.
I'll tell you. In other regions, when JDS is, people perceived it as a non-serious player, people are fed up with coalitions, so they gravitated towards Congress. Where the Old Mysuru, which is the cud of JDS, actually BJP took away some of their vote, and in the triangular contest, Congress came triumphant. That's what happened.
Right.
I can send you an entire Excel on this.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the data.
You can just look at it. Okay,
yeah,
seats
sure.
where we expected, for example, Gubbi. In Gubbi, it is Congress which took away the JDS seat. How does it happen in Gubbi for a margin of 9,081 votes? This is what you analyze seat by seat by seat. You will see that what happened is there was a deliberate shift of votes from JDS. It happened in Delhi. We saw that when Congress did that with Aam Aadmi Party for the first time because they wanted to defeat the BJP. But it became the Basmansur effect next time.
Fair enough. Suresh Kochatil, political analyst, thank you so much for joining us with that detailed perspective after having analyzed every single one of those 224 seats in Karnataka that recently went to polls. Thank you so much for the detailed perspective. And of course, Shyam Prasad Meka for joining us on this broadcast with some fiery views and helping us, do this debate better. And of course, Dr. Basavaraj Itnal, senior journalist, joining us on this broadcast with his perspective as always. Wonderful for having you here on this. And with that, we wrap up this particular edition of News9 Live. Thank you so much for tuning into this broadcast. Keep it with News9 Live. News and updates and analysis continue. But for now, this is Krishna Kumar signing off.